Some fears live in the basement. Some live under the bed. But the ones that follow you, the ones that never fully leave, those live in the attic. Tonight, 3 people share their stories. 3 attics. 3 encounters that cannot be explained. Listen carefully, and whatever you do, don't look up. Story 1. The Sleepwalker. When I was a kid, the attic always scared me more than the basement did. I don't really know why. Most people are more afraid of basements, but there was something about ours that really got to me. Our attic wasn't like other attics. You didn't have to crouch. The ceiling was high enough to stand. You'd think that would make it less frightening. You'd be wrong. The space was broken up by odd beams, uneven flooring, small changes in elevation that made it feel like a maze. You could never see from one end to the other. There was always something hidden just around the next beam. That was the thing that frightened me most. The feeling that something was hiding just out of sight. And then, one morning, I woke up with dirty feet. The bottoms were grey, grimy, a fine layer of grit between my toes I couldn't explain. I hadn't gone outside. I hadn't done anything unusual. I'd simply gone to sleep. I washed my feet. I went to school. I tried not to think about it. But then came the box. A small cardboard box filled with old photographs, the kind my parents kept stored away in the attic, sitting in the middle of my bedroom floor. I had no memory of bringing it down. Then came the lamp. Brass. Ugly. Unmistakably from the attic. Sitting on my desk like it had always been there. That's when it all clicked into place. I wasn't just sleepwalking. I was sleepwalking to the attic. My parents said it was normal, that I'd grow out of it. But to me, it was something else entirely. The idea that I was navigating that maze in the pitch dark, completely unconscious, it made me feel like a stranger in my own body. I started dreading bedtime. I'd lie there for hours, fighting sleep, terrified of what I'd do once I was under. Every morning I checked my feet. Clean feet meant a safe night. Dirty feet meant I'd been up there again. And then came the night I woke up already standing. Not in my bed, not lying down, standing upright in complete darkness in the attic. I couldn't see anything. Not the beams, not the boxes, not the hatch. Nothing but absolute, impenetrable black. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, too terrified to move. And then I had the thought, the one I couldn't shake. I was not alone up there. Then I heard it. A soft thud from somewhere behind me. Then again. Then once more, from a different spot. I found the hatch. I don't know how. I went straight to my parents' room and I was sobbing, full-on sobbing by the time I got there. My dad went up to check. He came back down in 2 minutes and told me there was nothing there. The sleepwalking stopped after that night, and I've never been able to fully accept the explanation. I know what I heard. I still do. Story 2. The Hidden Room. I was 14 or 15. My family lived in an old house that had been passed down for generations. My dad grew up there, his parents before him. The attic was basically a graveyard. Old furniture, boxes of God knows what. Christmas decorations. That was the only reason anyone ever went up there. That particular Christmas, my dad decided I was finally old enough to get the decorations myself. He gave me the whole rundown. I nodded like I was paying attention. I wasn't. So I went up, had absolutely no idea what he told me to grab, and spent the next 20 minutes tearing the place apart, looking for anything that looked like it might contain Christmas lights. I made a mess. But I found what I needed, and on my last trip back up to check I hadn't missed anything, I saw the box. Black. Sturdy. Not cardboard. Something heavier. Something older. Inside, papers. Dozens and dozens of papers. Notebooks, loose pages, hand-drawn maps, even what appeared to be sheet music. And every single one of them, every page, every margin, every corner, was covered in handwriting. I told myself I wasn't leaving until I'd read every word. The early entries were dull. Weather, chores, random observations. But as I kept reading, the handwriting got more frantic. The content got stranger. Whoever had written this had become obsessed with the attic. They kept measuring it, comparing the dimensions to the footprint of the house below. According to their calcu,
A person still processing something recent. I've been a smoker for 23 years. At this point, it's less a habit and more a ritual. And I refuse to smoke inside. So every night, I do a slow loop around the backyard of the old colonial I inherited from my parents. It's peaceful. No close neighbors. Just me, the dark, the trees, and the crickets. The house is old. Creaky floors, drafty windows. You cannot walk through it without making noise. It has an attic, a storage space, basically. I go up maybe once or twice a year. There's a small window up there, maybe a foot wide, that looks out over the backyard. I have looked up at that window hundreds of times during my walks. It never caught my attention. Until 3 weeks ago. I was halfway through a cigarette when I glanced up at the house, and for just a moment, I saw something move behind that little window. A shape, shifting in the dark behind the glass. I told myself it was a cloud reflection, a bat. I finished my cigarette and went inside. The next night, I saw it again. I went back inside, stood at the bottom of the stairs looking up at the attic hatch for a long time. Not a sound, not a scratch, not a thing. Then I pulled down the ladder and climbed. I was not prepared for what I found. The attic was destroyed. Every box overturned, everything in disarray, and every wall, the ceiling included, was smeared in something black, something thick, something that looked like paint, but wasn't quite right. It was still dripping. I swept the attic with my flashlight. No one there. I practically fell down the ladder. I grabbed the biggest knife from my kitchen, went back up screaming, and there was still no one there. But this time, I noticed something new. Scratch marks. Long, deep gouges in the wooden beams and floorboards, layered over everything, like something had been clawing. I called the police. 2 officers went up. They came back down and told me the attic was empty. No gaps in the eaves. No way in or out except through the house. They said whoever did it must have slipped past me while I searched the other rooms. But this house, you cannot take a single step without it announcing you. I would have heard them. I know I would have heard them. It's been 3 weeks. No further incidents. I still haven't gone back up there, not even to clean the paint. I don't know what was in my attic. I just know it wasn't nothing. This is 3 people, 3 attics, 3 things that do not add up. Dirty feet and no memory of how they got that way. A hidden room with no entrance and writings that described what was inside it. Something moving behind a window that had no business moving. Maybe there are explanations. Maybe the mind fills in the gaps when it cannot bear the alternative. Or maybe some spaces in old houses aren't empty. Maybe they're just waiting.